Back, this is Caffeine Encrypted and we're back with another tutorial. Today we're looking at wear and tear and how Reconstruction works for our republic. As always, let's start with some basics. All buildings have a set lifespan. Residential and service buildings 20 years, storage buildings and transfer buildings about 30 years, train and dock infrastructure about 28 years. Everything else, factory machinery, which is part of factories, 8.5 to 15 years. Vehicles, they do not have a set lifespan. What causes wear and tear? Fires. While a building is on fire, its wear and tear goes up. If wear and tear hits 100, the building will be destroyed even if you can actually put the fire out. Keep that in mind. Passage of time and usage, and age of building or vehicle. The older they are, the faster wear and tears affects the building or vehicle. What is immune to wear and tear? Water and sewage pipes, heating and oil pipes, fences and motors, and power poles. Now, what is the effect of wear and tear? When it comes to buildings, it increases their chance of collapsing. Residential buildings, it decreases their quality of flat as well. Factories, decreases their productivity and efficiency. And for everything else, it just decreases their efficiency. As for vehicles, it just increases their chance of breaking down. Now for the in-game stuff. Here we have a little republic, very basic, some houses, a shopping center for people, a bus, couple factories, a vehicle repair station, a scrapping facility which we'll talk about, and our construction offices. First I want to show you a very useful overlay. So if you go on your overlays, building properties, and select wear and tear, you can see the condition of all your buildings within its radius. So let's do 3000 so we can capture all of them. You see all of those flats, they are in a pretty bad state. If we click on them, they will say Reconstruction in progress, even though I haven't assigned it. Now, how does Reconstruction work? If you click over here, you will open the Reconstruction window. For the construction office to be able to fix that, they need those resources. So they need bricks, they need boards, they need steel, they need prefab panel, and of course, workers. Now, factories, on the other hand, while they do have their own reconstruction, they also have a wear and tear of machines. And when they reach a specific point, you need to replace them, otherwise their productivity will drop significantly. As you can see here, low worker productivity due to reconstruction. So while you try to reconstruct them, they actually still produce, just at a decrease rate, which is very helpful with things like heating plan or a power plan, and so on. Now let's look at the actual construction office. First, let's look at the settings. I will enable auto search, and let's say we want to dedicate this construction office to only do reconstructions. I'm going to remove roads, buildings, factories, factory connection, conveyor pipes, electric wiring, everything pretty much. And I like to keep my reconstruction to 40% and machine replacement to 30%. A few things that I found out while experimenting with this is, if your construction offices have to go too far to do repairs, the time it takes them to go back and forth and do everything is not fast enough, and sometimes your building can actually collapse. So I think when they hit around 80%, the chance to collapse increases drastically, and somewhere between 80 and 85, they can fall at any moment. If they get completely destroyed, a blueprint will remain, and you will actually have to rebuild it from scratch, including all the stages. So for this example, we're gonna keep them as 40 and 30. And here you will see they have their own little icon over here to show you that, hey, this is actually a reconstruction. And of course you can prioritize as usual. Now, I will intentionally leave this up to 1000 because I don't want them to repair everything. I want something to collapse so I can actually show you what it looks like, if it decides to happen. So let's start a reconstruction project on this one. So one of the offices is assigned, more of them will automatically once I unpause the game, and they will need the resources. So my vehicles will go out, start bringing the resources, and then they will bring people. Now, you cannot use excavators or bulldozers for reconstruction. So if you maintain a construction office just for reconstruction, get rid of them. Every other vehicle you actually need. So you need your dumpers, mixers, covered hulls, open hulls, buses, and of course cranes, because anything that needs workers can use cranes, whether they are road cranes or tower cranes. So let's unpause the game. Okay. And now here you will see that we have all the resources. They will automatically send one crane. I think on bigger buildings you can use up to 2 cranes. And then of course they'll bring the workers through so they can finalize this. So our productivity at the moment is 56% with 70% wear and tear. And now that it's done, wear and tear is down to 0%, productivity is up to 100%. But you will see that this only fixes the wear and tear, not the machinery. So let's go replace machines and let's see what that needs. You cannot do both at the same time. So we require electronic components, steel and mechanical components. And of course, we need to assign our buildings to do that. As always, you can mouse over here and see what is used for it. So bus, covered hulls and open hulls. So if you want to have one reconstruction office that the only thing it does is fix machinery, like near an industrial area, you can just get away with buses, road cranes, covered hulls and open hulls. Actually, you cannot use a road crane on this, I just realized. Excellent. Since reconstruction is slow and requires a lot of workers, and you only have one space for a crane, it's best to use tower cranes. Will make things significantly better and faster. And here is the other funny thing. When they reconstruct something, they put frames around it so you can visually see what's happening. Construction offices require reconstruction as well, so you need to keep that in mind too. If they collapse, you'll lose every vehicle inside it. Another way you can handle reconstruction if you don't want to do it automatically, you can go on your construction office assign tool, you can select a spot, you can assign construction offices, so you say I want those 4 guys, I want to assign them to reconstruction mode and I want them to reconstruct this. Same way you assign constructions, and they'll go ahead and do it. And here's an example of the impact it has on flats. At the moment, while they're being reconstructed at 70% wear and tear, their quality of flats is down to 37%, which has a massive impact on our people's happiness. Once complete, it goes back to its original, which is 70%. So you can think of it this way, they're gonna drop at about 50%. Another quick tip. If you wonder what resources you're gonna need to repair your buildings, you will need the same types of resources you used to build it. So for example, for this prefab, I would need concrete, gravel, asphalt, bricks, boards, steel and prefab. While if it was just for a bus platform, concrete, gravel, asphalt and steel. And here we are, we have an example flat with the risk of actually falling down. So the risk appears at 85%. But as you can see here, I skipped time for a couple months and it's still standing. Why is that? Because we actually did begin the process of reconstruction. So once you start the process, it won't collapse. But if you don't start and they don't put the frame around it, it will collapse. And this concludes our reconstruction and wear and tear tutorial. We will be back with another tutorial to cover vehicles. Thanks everyone for watching, don't forget to drop a comment, like, subscribe, you know all the fun stuff. If you have any tips or tricks, let me know in the comments down below. Bye bye.